Let's go to the Taco Bell hotline. Welcoming to Laying Down the Law, number 86, Antonio Freeman. Good morning, Antonio.
Good morning. I like the Run DMC intro. I like it.
It's just for you. Got to make you feel welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, man. That's right in my era when rap music really became relevant.
Well, we're very glad and very fortunate to have a legend of the game in my mind.
Led the Packers in receiving for 4 seasons, led the NFL in receiving in 1998.
One point in time, had the longest reception in a Super Bowl. Caught it from Brent Favre. We're very happy to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's an exciting Sunday. It's week 2 of the NFL season. I know the fans are happy, the players are happy, so I'm excited this morning as well.
Now, we're going to talk a little fantasy. How did you do last week?
Oh, man, I just put the best players and I picked the best matchups. You know, I kind of really diagnosed my fantasy selections. I look at the team that they're playing, how they fared last week. I look at the intangibles to try to make my fantasy selection. So I really went in depth. I really went in deep last week, and I think that's why I was able to have so much success.
Well, what intangibles are you looking at? I mean, my fantasy team is horrible. I need every edge I can get. Give me some help.
Well, I look at the defensive team that they're playing that week. I look at how they fared the previous week. I look at maybe the past 2 games and how they fared against big-name receivers, premier running backs, and I kind of gauge my temperament on my players through that. I look at the standings. I look at the yards. You know, the yards allowed, the yards given up to turnovers, like the Ravens, for instance. They're a sure pick every week. I'm picking the Ravens as my defense every week because they have the uncanny ability to generate turnovers and turn those turnovers into points. So I look at those type things that how I can get an edge and an advantage on the player that I'm playing against.
And what we're talking about here, we are talking with Antonio Freeman, former Green Bay Packer great. And Antonio, what you're referring to is the Legends Fantasy Leagues, where people around the nation can square off against sports legends in the game of fantasy football, correct?
Yes, that is correct. LFL.com, Legends Fantasy League. Yeah, man, it's a fan's dream to try to knock me out. I think I had 151 points last week, and those of you in the fantasy world know that's a tremendous amount of points. So join the league and try to be better than me. You know, I've been at this thing for a couple years now, so you know, just give it a shot. You know, you might get lucky. You might feel lucky, and you might get lucky.
Did you recall fantasy really being around when you were playing the game? Fantasy, a relatively new invention. In your heyday of the Packers, there really wasn't much fantasy, was there?
You know, the bit of fantasy I can remember is my brother. My brother was a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, and every game that he would come to, or every morning before a game, he would say, I need at least a touchdown or 2 and 6 catches for my fantasy league. And that was when the fantasy thing just came on the scene, and I really didn't understand it until years and years. Like my 9th year in the league, I realized what fantasy football was. And in 2006, I had the opportunity to work with ESPN 2 on the original fantasy football show, which we aired weekly and gave out fantasy picks. And my actual part of the show was freeze flex. So I had to pick a flex player. That's normally a running back or a wide receiver. So that's how I got to studying the numbers and studying the defenses and things of that nature, so that my flex player, which is very valuable in fantasy football, would always be valuable.
Freeze flex. What's your flex play? Who's your flex player today?
Oh, man, you know, my flex player today is going to be Lee Evans. I think the Ravens went out, they signed Lee Evans, they brought him in to make a difference. Last week he didn't really go out and catch any balls, actually, but he was instrumental on the 1 touchdown that Anquan Bolden caught. He made the safety slide toward Lee Evans' side, which left Anquan Bolden singled up one-on-one, and I think the Ravens will just make an extreme effort to try to get him involved in some crossing routes and things of that nature, just to try to welcome him to the team.
So do you ever pay much attention to the Packers these days? Do you stay in touch with the team, or is it just kind of that's where you used to be employed and now you're just kind of moving on with the game and you're just a general overall fan of the NFL?
I was in Green Bay for the kickoff, the opener against the Saints, and I was able to be there the entire week. The NFL did a great job, along with its sponsors, of putting on numerous youth football camps that I had the privilege to be involved in. Just a fun time to be in Green Bay, and I got to see him play the Saints, and I was really impressed with Aaron Rodgers and the offense and how they were able to just keep that momentum from last year. And on the other part, I was disappointed in the defense for giving up 30 points. True, New Orleans is a powerful, great offense, but Super Bowl champions coming out on that opener, you got to make a statement, and I think that. The New Orleans Saints just proved why, it's any given Sunday. It can happen. I mean, it came down to the final play of the game, and just a great week for me to be in Wisconsin, to be a Packer, to be at the Packers game, and just welcoming the whole NFL season back.
Antonio, last week I know we brought the LFL to light here, but perhaps there's some of our listeners out there that don't know what the Legends Fantasy League is and what it's about. Can you kind of fill them in on what we're talking about right now?
Well, you can join in. I mean, fans can join in at any time throughout the season. And the real unique thing is prizes are given out weekly. So if you're a fan and you want to join and you want to go against the likes of myself and some other NFL legend greats, it's a great opportunity. I mean, it's a weekly thing. You can join week 10. You can join week 6. Or you can join this week. It's just a great collaboration and tie-in between the fans and some of the former stars of the game, all in friendly competition.
I mean, some of the stars that we're talking about that you can play against, you got Darryl Strawberry, Ed Tutel-Jones, Tony Dorsett, Joe Horn, O.J. Anderson, Ickey Woods, of course, Antonio Freeman here that we're talking with right now. How does the season progress then? What happens? Is there a playoff near the end of the season? Is there the Super Bowl fantasy near week 16, week 17?
There will be a playoff and a Super Bowl. It's just funny you mentioned those legends' names, and I grew up watching Darryl Strawberry, Ed Tutel-Jones, a number of those guys. And for me, being a former athlete, it's just an extension of my accomplishments to be able to team up and be in collaboration with the stars and the names that you mentioned, guys that I watch, guys that I played with, like Joe Horn. I mean, to me as a former player, it's pretty exciting just to be amongst those guys as well. So I can imagine just for a fan, just to be able to go back to work on Monday morning and say, you know what, I lost another game to Antonio Freeman. That guy is really good. So it's just fun. It's fun. There will be a playoff and a winner ultimately at the end. And it's a week-to-week thing. I want to keep stressing to the fans. You can join any week you want, and prizes are given out weekly. So it's a good lead-up to the end of the season.
I know at the end of the year, in there tickets to the big game for someone? Super Bowl?
I mean, that's yet to be determined.
Okay.
I'm just a player. I'm not the GM. I'm not the head coach. I'm not the scout. I'm just a player, just like I was back in my playing days.
And I guess folks who want to get a little bit more information, they can go to legendsfantasyleagues.com. They can get all the information they need, see the players that are in there, and get their opportunity to take you on head up and see what they can do with their team.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, any questions for any listeners out there, just go to legendsfantasyleague.com. It'll give you all the information, all the details that I may or may not have missed out on today. So it's a great opportunity for our fans to interact with some of the greats of the game past. So why LFL, Legends Fantasy League. Please go out, check it out, and come join on.
We certainly appreciate you taking time this morning to come in. Hopefully James here will get over his shock of getting to talk to another one of his Packer greats, legends. He's in awe, as we all are, and we wish you continued success in the league. And I'm going to have to start watching what you're doing because what I'm doing isn't working. So thanks a whole bunch for coming in this morning and talking to us about Legends Fantasy League.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's Sunday, so go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. Awesome. Antonio Freeman on Laying Down the Law. What a pleasure to talk with him.